everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Books with Jill and Julie. My name is Jill Kenny. I'm the head of Reader Services and Programming at the Chelmsford Public Library.
I'm Julie Itron, Reference and Reader Services Librarian at the Chelmsford Library.
And we want to welcome you today to our summer edition. We're going to talk about some books that we have in our beach bags. We're changing it up a little bit. Neither one of us know which books we're going to talk about. We both collected some things that were in our house that we either want to read or that we have read. In my case, I've read all of mine. That these are the books that I purchased that I want to everybody else to read because they're so fun, or if someone asks me for a book recommendation, these are the ones I go to. So
in my case, I've read one of mine. These are all brand new this summer release because that's what we were talking about. What are we going to put in our beach bag? And I always read new books in the summer. I don't reread, so I actually don't even remember some of the books that are in this bag.
Well, that makes it great
because
some of mine are so old that I don't remember what they're about. So we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off.
Okay.
So one of my all-time go-tos is 29. As the birthday candles, 29. It's by Adina Halpern. And I absolutely love this book so much. It's basically a woman who is at her 80th birthday party with her family surrounding her, and she blows out the candles, goes to bed, and she wakes up in her 29-year-old self. Oh. And so she gets to redo everything, and if she does it the same way or if she does it differently, it is so much fun. I actually have reread it before, but it took me a while to find it, to buy it at a used bookstore, but it's just so much fun. It's like a perfect beach read because it's, a chance to do it differently or similarly again, and what happens.
I bet you also like that because it's going to go back in time to when she was younger. So there's like a little bit of historical fiction to it, right?
Yeah.
In that she's going to go probably like the 1950s, 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it's, there's a little bit of romance in there, so you would love it. And there's some, family, and, it's general fiction. It's not truly a romance, but it was really fun.
Do you know when it was published? I've not heard of this before.
Yeah, this was one that a lot of people were didn't know. 2010.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so it actually says a joyful fairy tale that will sweep you up and captivate you from start to finish.
Okay.
Probably because you get a chance to do it again.
Right. Great.
Not reality, sadly.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
All right, well, first I want to point out my bag,
yes,
which is my Emily Henry Books Are My Happy Place bag that I got when I went to the release for Happy Place that just came out a couple of months ago. And so the first one that's coming out, this is called Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. And I have no idea what this is about, but it is a romance by Ali, and she is a must-buy author for me. So this one actually happens to be the indie bookstore edition. Oh. So one of the things that romance writers are doing now is they're doing different versions of their books for different destinations.
Oh, really?
So for example, I know that if you buy this book at Target,
yeah,
it has some bonus content. So Ali Hazelwood is one who writes a lot of STEM heroines. So her female characters are, very much in the math and science field. I would say that a lot of her romances are right in the middle in terms of spiciness.
Yep.
She actually has a few that are what we would call closed door, where it doesn't happen on the page.
Yep.
That would be perfect for someone who either doesn't like that or your YA reader who wants to dip their toes into romance. From what I understand, this is not that. This one is supposed to be a little spicy. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's another one? Love Theoretically?
Love Theoretically, yes.
What's one by her?
And she has Checkmate, which is one of those closed-door YA ones that's also very popular. And Love on the Brain is another one of hers that I really liked. So, yeah. So I'm very excited for this one. This will be a beach or pool side read for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the color, shiny.
Yes.
Kind of fun. All right, let's see. My next one is called Goodnight June, and this is by Sarah Jo. It is another one that I give or recommend to tons of people because it has the bookstore in it. It has the, it's not romance because it's not technically in a romance, but there's a romantic element to it. Someone who's trying to start over, and then she, you know, someone in the community turns out to be, I think it's like a handyman. It's a small town, and she takes over her great-grandmother's bookstore. And I think it's in Seattle, if I remember correctly. And so it's got all the books, but I guess it's great aunt. She leaves clues in the books. And so it takes you through all these books. And so Goodnight June is obviously Goodnight Moon, take on that. And so there's tons of literary references. So it's really, really fun. It's kind of like it really kind of felt like a Goodnight Mail, not Goodnight Mail.
You've Got Mail?
You've Got
Yeah.
Mail with the Meg Ryan feel to it, but so good. I loved it. Got it at a little used bookstore, but I had to find and own it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. She's written other books. This one's called The Violets of March and Blackberry Winter. But a lot of them are sort of literary related, or, you know, they toe the line of romance, but they're not. So highly recommend it. It was just fun. I love it.
That sounds like a good summer read,
Yeah.
right? That's just kind of checks all those boxes of it's not too heavy, it has a good story, it has good character development, you can read it. Well, everybody has a different opinion of what they want for like a beach read or a summer read. I like one that moves quickly because I love to read a book a day at the beach. So that's like my goal is, can I do this whole book in one day?
Yeah. It might. You might be able to. Yeah. But
right.
there's some good like family stuff too. You know, it's a good combination of things. So
Good.
yeah, highly recommend it.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so next up, this is A Caribbean Heiress in Paris by Adriana Herrera. And I actually have this one on my nightstand because this is our current pick for my romance book club that I just started at the library last month. So it's called Between the Sheets. And we meet to talk all the romance books and all of the tropes. And this one I picked because this is a historical romance, but a lot of times when people think romance, they think Regency England, and I wasn't quite ready to take us there yet. So instead, we're gonna go to the same time period, but we're going to Paris. Actually, it's a little later, so it's like late 1800s in Paris. And the heroine of this book is originally from the Caribbean and goes to Paris to sell her family's rum. And the only thing that she sort of says is, I'm going to Paris, I'm going to sell this rum, I'm going to, enjoy the city, but I'm not going to fall in love. Of course, she's going to fall in love. So, she's going to meet, obviously, an earl, and romance will ensue. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I haven't read it yet, which is also kind of why I picked it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be new to me. But Adriana Herrera is another huge name in romance right now. And she really likes to write characters who are like her, so non-white characters.
Yep.
And ensures that they get a happy ending, which I think is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll get a part of the Caribbean and a part of Paris, like if it's a dual.
I think it's mostly Paris, but I know that there's obviously going to be all that influence from the Caribbean,
Right.
Because that's like where her family is based in, and I think some of the family members are still there, so we shall see.
Oh, excited for that.
Yeah.
That new book club.
Yep. It's a lot of fun.
I know. It's going to be a good one. Well, I will talk about my next one because it's also in Paris. It is called The Unbreakables by Lisa Barr. And this has to be classified as a romance. I'm not quite sure. This came out in 2019, and it's a starting over. Your 42nd birthday, and she finds out that her husband's been cheating on her after many, many, many years, and so she's like, I'm out. She goes to Paris, starts over, and she's an artist, and she really gets involved with the Paris lifestyle and meets, a really hunky French guy, and it's wonderful. That is a beach read in a day.
Okay.
For sure. It is fast. It's fun. You really can relate to the woman because she's, I don't know, they just write it really well where you're in it and you're like, okay, we're in Paris and that guy was a jerk and now I'm on to this new culture, she wasn't working as an artist in her job previously, but she's going back to then creating art and then sort of rebuilding herself and kind of things.
So returning to her true self, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep, and a fun French man, flame, budding romance that happens, so it's fun. Yeah.
Is there food in there too?
Oh yeah, always.
Okay. I love when it's like, in addition to talking about place, they also talk about like not just the sights, but the sounds and the smells and the food.
Oh yeah,
especially for
you
Paris.
Definitely, Paris is always a go-to for me for books. Just as I lived there for a little while to go back, and so it's kind of fun.
Nice.
Revisit.
Good.
Eating croissants by the Seine.
Absolutely. Which is like the perfect escape, which is also, I think, another criteria for a beach read or a summer read.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people want a little break from their reality.
I know, which should be a winter break, winter read.
It's
because
true, yeah.
We need that break
we need that in New England, but it's true. It's true. All right, so let's see, what do I have next? Oh, okay. So this is not a romance. This is Stephen King's You Like It Darker, which is his newest release of short stories.
Yep.
And I'm a huge Stephen King fan. My online book group reads Stephen King every summer. So this is on my nightstand because we're reading some of the stories for this month. And I didn't know this, but I guess his pattern is that he releases a short story collection like once every decade. Oh. So this is his newest collection, and I've heard that it is excellent. I've also heard that one of the stories in it is a sequel to Cujo.
Yep.
That I have been hearing is terrifying, and that actually. As when I was younger, I read Stephen King, probably too young, which I feel like is the way that a lot of people read Stephen King. And Cujo was a book that I never could finish because I was so afraid of it. So I will be sort of curious to see what it's like. Because sometimes when you reread King as an adult, what you thought was scary when you were younger is actually not what you find scary later on.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think that what's happening with the actual people and how they behave is more frightening than whatever the supernatural ghost is. But someone else mentioned that this feels a little bit more of a return to his traditional horror writing, if you will, because in the last few years he's kind of pivoted away and done more of like cop detective stories, which are still really good. But this You Like It Darker feels a little bit truer to his horror roots. So I'm very excited for this one.
It's funny, the only Stephen King book I read until recently was Night Shift.
Yeah.
Which was one of his
short story collections.
Short story, and
yes.
I don't remember really because it was so long ago that I read it, but my more recent read was Fairy Tale, which is completely different for him. But really great. I liked it a lot. And then my husband read this, and he really liked it. So.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. One of the stories is quite long.
Yes.
And I don't remember.
It almost feels like it could be novella length.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that I could do this one in a day.
No.
I feel like I also sometimes need to pause and read something a little lighter. So
Well, plus it's a hardcover.
yeah,
Would you bring a hardcover to the beach?
probably not. No.
I mean, I have in the past, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd bring a hardcover to the beach. You're right.
There's a lot of people that bring Kindles and the black and whites versus the
Yeah.
other ones that they can deal with the sun and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't bring my Kindle to the beach because I'm afraid I'm going to drop it in the sand. That's my thinking behind it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or what if it lose battery? I don't have one. so
Right.
I don't-
Yeah. Yeah. And you can always tell at the library too when someone has taken a hardcover library book to the beach.
Yeah.
Because then when we check them in and we have to do this and like give them a little shake.
The sand
so.
comes out. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, that's a good one.
Yep.
So I'll go to my one that isn't sort of light. Is my Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult.
Okay.
So I am not a Jodi Picoult reader, as some people I know read all of her books and then kind of got, I shouldn't say all these people, but would say, oh, I'm kind of tired of her books because, it's each one is kind of on a serious issue. And then, you can either love that or not. But
Right.
this one is the only one I've read, but I loved it.
Of all of her books? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. It is current time. It's based around a black nurse and a white woman who, it's a baby that dies, and then how they're all involved and a court case that's around it. It's in Connecticut, so it's kind of local. But the way she writes about the different characters is amazing, and the way they become involved with each other, and obviously the controversy and the outcome. Definitely not a romance because there's not
Yeah.
always a happy ending. But this one, highly recommend. And pretty much everyone I've talked to that has read this has said the same thing. They're like, I loved it.
Okay.
So you could probably read this in a day on the beach if nobody talked to you and.
That's also how I like to go and read at the beach.
Right. So this one came out in 2016.
Okay. I don't know if I've read that one. I've read some of hers.
Yeah.
I feel like she's written so many books that now I'm unsure
Which ones
which
you read?
ones I have and haven't read.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's true because I thought I read this one and then I'm like, oh, I'll go back and read some of the other ones. But I know that they're pretty heavy topics and I'm not always in the mood for that.
Right.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, no, this one was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next up, I have another romance, A Love Like the Sun by Rhys M. Nielsen. This just came out, and I put it on my list because, well, first of all, Emily Henry blurbed it on the cover.
Wow.
And I've heard a lot of romance authors and podcasters talking about it. So the tropes for this one are friends to lovers and fake dating. So the way that I understand it, the two main characters have been best friends since they were very young. And Isaac has gone on and become very famous in his own right. And Lanaya has stayed in their hometown, and she never wants to sort of lean on Isaac for favors. But she and her mom run, I'm unsure if it's a hair salon or a hair care business, and the business is struggling. And so, the only thing that we can think of to solve this problem is for Isaac and Lanaya to start dating so that he can use his fame to help save the family business, right? It makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw this one. I was going to take it too.
So, and then of course the business is going to blossom, but then feelings become real, as is the case with fake dating, of course.
Fake.
So, and it's romance, so it's happily ever after. I've heard this one is high spice.
Oh.
So I am looking forward to that part of it, but very excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Our timing is pretty good here. So let's see. My last book to talk about is called Ghosted, and it's by Rosie Walsh. Lane Moriarty has the blurb on the top of this
all right.
one. I absolutely love this book, and I didn't want it to end.
Okay.
So this one is basically the story of getting ghosted, right? So you find someone, you have this amazing date or amazing couple of dates, and then nothing. You don't hear from them. Like completely disappears. Not sure what happens. So it's Sarah is the character. She basically goes, everybody's like, forget about it. And then it becomes this, you find out, I don't want to tell any kind of information because it is so amazing, but you do find out what happens. It is a surprising thing that happens, and then it is a backtracking of how it happened kind of thing, but it is also a romance. So it's like a mystery romance, but this is a day. You could definitely read this in a day at the beach, and it is all the different things, a gripping and surprising romantic suspense story. You won't want to put it down. You'll be glued to this heartwarming romance with the pacing of a thriller until its last satisfying page. It's so good. It's romantic, it's sad, ultimately hopeful book that's perfect for the fans of like a Jojo Moyes book. And she has written some other books. Now I can't remember what they're called, but really, 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 really good.
Okay.
That's 3 minutes.
All right, so my last one here is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. And this is being buzzed about this summer. It is a wild, wild ride. So I am on...
Mystery.
Yeah, well, it is everything.
Oh.
So it's a mystery, it's a thriller, it's a love story, it is bananas. So I will confess that I do this thing that some people think is absolutely horrible. So we're on TV now and I'm confessing. I will often read the ending of a book.
Come on.
Before I start the book.
Are you serious?
I'm totally serious to decide whether or not I'm going to read it.
No.
Right? I started doing it when I was little with Stephen King because there were so many characters that I'd be like, well, which ones do I need to pay attention to, right? So it's a habit that I have. I am not doing it for this book.
Whoa.
Because I have heard that there is a twist at the end that is supposed to be like out of this world.
Okay.
So this is being talked about as like everyone's favorite book. This was blurbed by Kristen Hanna. It's a Read with Jenna book. Essentially, the beginning of the book is, and it happens all within the first 10 pages, is that there is someone who is taking young girls from this area. And at the very beginning of the book, there is an attempt on a girl, and this 12-year-old boy named Patch stops it, but then he's taken. So he disappears, and there's a manhunt, and his friend Saint is determined that she is going to find Patch. Oof. And that's kind of how the book begins.
Oh my goodness.
And so then there are all of these characters who are intertwined, and as their lives move forward, they've been affected by this event. It is a wild ride. This was one where I picked it up late at night and then stayed up too late because I just needed one more chapter. Oh. So it's longer, but this could be a book where you start it in the morning and then don't talk to anybody all day and finish it at the end. So
wow.
There's going to be a lot of holds on this one, but it is supposed to be phenomenal. And so far, it's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it on my list, and we're going to put them in our bags. And if anybody else needs some help with what books you might want to take to the beach, come into the library and come talk to us because we have so many lists and we have so many recommendations. And that's going to wrap it up for our summer reading bonanza.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beach bag bonanza, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, beach bag bonanza.
Well, thanks for chatting with me,
Yeah.
and thanks everybody for being here.
And everybody should check us out.
Check this out.
Check us out.